What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Beginner's Guide. Firstly, apologies, I know this hasn't been an episode since the Ditto episode, which was over a week ago now, so I have been slacking a little bit, and there's a few more battles coming back to the channel. I just haven't edited them. I can't speak. Edited them. Oh my. Yeah, I haven't done that to them. I've been in the process of buying a car. We've been getting loads of stuff for the house, for moving out, and all sorts of little bits. So I'm back now. And we're taking Stoutland and discussing all the various bits that I usually do: stats, move pool, and the usual table, the for and against the draft in Stoutland. So yeah, we'll kind of jump into it. So Stoutland, I think, is in the RU tier. So typically, like all of the Pokemon that I cover, he is a low tier pick. Normal typing. Looks like some ruffled up dog. I can't remember the name of the dog that it looks like, but yeah. So we'll jump into the stats. Some kind of notable things. This thing has notoriously good attack stat, I guess. Base 110, boosted by adamant. 252 attack means it can definitely break some walls. It got relatively good bulk. It can't take fighting hits, but anything else, I mean, you can switch into kind of low power, say fairy moves or steel moves or even kind of ground moves, something like that, like a moon blast or whatever. You can take those relatively well and do what it's got to do. Average speed, I guess, base 80 is okay competitively because typically you'll speed creep what you need to speed creep. And we'll get onto the speed too because it has options to boost its speed. So yeah, we'll jump into that bit. Move pool. This thing it has a fair amount of moves to cover a lot of different Pokemon. Return and Facade are very good stab moves. Obviously, Return is based off max happiness, so make it max happiness and it will treat you well. And of course, with viable sets, I mean, this thing doesn't need to kind of predict as much, i.e., usually ghost types can switch into normal types. But this has the ability Scrappy, which is the same as what Mega Lopunny has, where you can click any kind of normal or fighting type move, and it will negate Ghost's ability to be non-affected by them. Facade, this thing can be a burn inducer or a toxic inducer or even a T-wave inducer because Facade is obviously based off your status or status, whatever you want to call it. If you're burn, I think is it 1.5 times damage or is it doubled? Something like that. But yeah, it's pretty similar to having the guts ability. And with that comes an extremely scary Pokemon that then, I mean, Facade has a high base power anyway, so burning that double it or 1.5 times whatever, it then becomes a serious threat. Superpower, an amazingly strong fighting type move. Like I'll get into on the type chart, but I think it's Steel and Rock that resist normal, and both of those are weak to fighting. So Superpower on a read will seriously destroy, or even you can return effects and damage off Superpower to kill them off. So yeah, that's obviously nice. You got Crunch and Pursuit, some dark type attacks. I mean, like I said, with steel types, I mean, Metagross is steel psychic, I think Jirachi. So those things can't exactly switch in safely if you've got Crunch. And even if it was to switch in on, say, a return just to take it and then switch out, you can then pursue and do what you got to do. And as well, Fire Fang is another thing for those steel types. So I mean, steel types are really not an issue with this Pokemon. And naturally, I mean, steel types are what I mainly use to kind of check fairy types. So to get rid of those and then use something like your Clefable to set up or blah blah, blah. It would work well on a team with that, I think. And then you got Wild Charge. So if say some kind of flying type wants to take the superpower, you can make a read and then click Wild Charge. And if this thing is banded, for example, and you just want to make one read and you're not locked into the superpower, that is gonna hurt. Choice banded Wild Charge from Stoutland. It's pretty much game over at that point. There are some kind of more coverage moves. I think it gets a lot of different special options as well. So I didn't really want to go into those because I mean it works with its 110 base attack. That's really the most viable option in my opinion. In terms of viable sets, so I have changed this from typical sets. I think was the move pool and typical sets. I should have even changed the title, but I haven't. I have changed it to viable. Two sets, Wall Breaker and Sand Rush. So another ability is Sand Rush, which I'll go into in a sec. Return Facade, Superpower Crunch. Like I said, it has a relatively low amount of switch-ins. A bulky water type like a Suicune or an Anima Mode or something like that can kind of take you on. But obviously, it doesn't want to burn you. I mean, it can rule you out and waste sand turns. Another thing we'll get into. That could be a thing, but realistically, I mean, this thing is gonna break some walls. And I mean the biggest thing I guess about Stoutland, like I said, it is a very low tier pick. So to get a low tier wall breaker such as Stoutland, I mean Excadrill is such a common Pokemon because of its typing, because of its abilities, because of its massive base attack, all kinds of things. So Stoutland's kind of similar from that respect, but it's obviously got less weaknesses, which is nice. Items banded or life orb if you want to switch up your moves. I'd recommend banded because it's 110 base attack. It is okay, but it's not special. Like I think extra is like 140 or I can't remember, something ridiculous. But life orb allows you to kind of switch up and still hit relatively hard. Scrappy the ability so you can hit ghost types. You don't have to make any kind of ridiculous read. We've already gone over that. Next, Adamant or Jolly. Depends what your speed creeping. Adamant's obviously going to hit harder, but Jolly, if you desperately want to outspeed a certain Pokemon, then be my guest. And Eevee, I mean, both of the natures on the sets are Adamant, Jolly, 252 attack, 252 speed. This thing, you don't want to use it as a defensive Pokemon. It has natural bulk, but realistically, you'd rather it break some walls. Yeah, I mean that's the Wall Breaker set. Typical common set that you'll more than likely see because of the ability Scrappy. The next set, which is Sand Rush, same moves, same items, same nature, same EVs. The only thing is the ability. So Sand Rush allows you to double your speed in the sand. So if you're working with something like a Tyranitar, so that would be a pretty good team actually, I guess. But Tyranitar, perhaps a Clefable and Stoutland, because obviously Excadrill is usually paired with those. You can break some steel types and allow your fairies to switch, to sweep perhaps. And yeah, I mean this thing in the sand with a life orb, with all those different kinds of moves, it's going to be really hard to switch into. I mean, someone's going to have to run protect, someone's going to have to you're going to have to make a lot of reads. You're going to wear down a team with this thing. So seriously, a massive threat. And on to the biggest thing, which I know most of you like, is the table, the for and against of drafting Stoutland. On the 4 side, it's got I say a massive attack stat, but obviously only boosted with a band or a life orb. 110's not, like I say, not massively special, which leaves it in a lower tier. But yeah, typically, I mean, it is kind of a high attack stat. It's got some great abilities. Sand Rush and Scrappy, like I say, you rarely get Pokemon, i.e. like Excadrill and Pokemon like that, who have two really good abilities for competitive use. I mean, Sand Rush to double your speed and Scrappy to hit ghost types, absolutely perfect for Stoutland. It's got good natural bulk, like I say, switch it in on a fairy move. And it takes on steel and rock switching with superpower, so nothing's really safe with the Stoutland on the field. On the against side, it's got no priority whatsoever, which could be an issue. Sand Rush could kind of deteriorate that anyway, so you wouldn't really need priority in that sense. But really, it is always nice to have some kind of priority. But it's a normal type. I mean, quick attack's a thing. I don't think it doesn't get quick attack. So I mean, quick attack it's a low base move anyway. It's like a route 1, route 2 kind of move in the game. So that's that. It's got no setup options, unlike I think Bouffalon in the tier as well, which has a good ability in Sap Sipper, giving you a grass immunity. There's another Pokemon that I really want to go over, so yeah, look forward to that one. But yeah, if this thing had Swords Dance anyway, it'd be broken. It would be absolutely broken. Sand Rush, Swords Dance, it'd be an Excadrill. It'd be OU, one of the most picked Pokemon in my opinion. So it leaves it low tier, and I kind of like the option. It hasn't got no setup anyway. Because it's low points and it allows you to perhaps fit on a team with Excadrill as well, because Excadrill doesn't have all the coverage that this guy's got. It's relatively slow without sand, so if you really want, you can stick a scarf on it, but i.e. you'd rather run sand to get the different like running a life orb. You don't get locked into one move. But I mean, they say it's not all that bad. Like I say, you can speed creep what you got to speed creep, but most of the time, um, I mean, there'll be something which can check it relatively. And I think one of the best priority moves, there's vacuum wave, there's Mach punch. There's a lot of fighting type stab as well, so that could be an issue for Stoutland for one. So look out for that. And also the superpower attack drop. So if you are killing a steel or a rock type, you'll get the -1 attack, -1 defense, which is a real issue for someone coming in. Someone can SD on you, someone can set up on you. So you seriously have to be careful with that. Make sure that doesn't happen, which is a good thing about competitive because you're planning for a team rather than taking it onto the ladder and getting a superpower attack drop and then something that you haven't prepared for, haven't got a switch in or blah blah blah. It's gonna go through your team. So that's, I guess it can be a plus side as well because it's obviously counter league. And yeah, I mean that's it. I think from now on we're not going to have the battle at the end. It took a while to get a good battle. Like I think on my Jolteon I did it 5 or 6 times. People kept leaving, and then I mean you'd eventually do a good one which went all the way through, and it just wouldn't. Jolteon didn't do all that much, so I don't think it's worth it. All I can say is perhaps stick it on a team, ladder with it for a bit, see how you get on. Stick it on a team with T-Tar and Clefable, like I say, or even another fairy like Sylveon, Carmine Sylveon, or something like that. Just give it a go. I know I will. I haven't personally used Stoutland competitively, so and firstly I need to thank my friend Visish. He's in a league of ours, and his name on the chat is Vish. He calls himself Brian. So thanks, Brian, for the recommendation. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope everyone else enjoyed it as well. And yeah, like always, drop a like on the like button down below, and subscribe for more of these. The series will keep on coming. And yeah, I will see you all in the next episode. Bye bye.